The aim of this MA collection is to provide sustainable clothing for the ABC1 socioeconomic group of women between the ages of 35 and 65. During the course of the research for contextual studies, it was identified that female baby boomers were not being catered for by the fashion industry that perpetuates its image around youth. When women went shopping, they often came home empty-handed and felt marginalised and happy with what was on offer on the high street. Inspiration for the collection was based around iconic women in history, based around Jackie O and Debbie Harry. I was particularly interested in juxtaposing the idea of the refined and ladylike look of Jackie O with the anti-establishment punk rocker Debbie Harry. My customer is style not trend-driven. When interviewed, she requested pieces like a great white shirt, a skinny jean, a trench coat, and now the new classic, a biker jacket. And she prefers style and well-made clothing over things that are being offered on the high street presently. A number of systems were adopted when developing this collection. One of them is designed for disassembly. This is what facilitates recycling components of products to be reused at a later date. Recycling is where the fibres are reclaimed from existing garments by mechanical or chemical processes to be reconfigured into new materials. Upcycling is a system where existing garments are reappropriated to breathe new life into them. Exposed zippers and press studs are the finest quality were used from Europe to be incorporated into these garments so they could be designed for disassembly. This would further add to enhance sustainability of the collection. It was also necessary to fine-tune the raw edges from collections I'd done in the past because this collection was for a grown-up, more professional woman. I wanted to create positive reinforcement with the sizing of the clothing. The average size in the UK is a size 16. This collection will be offered in sizes 10 to 18 and the sample size is a size 14. Denim was chosen as the main fabric as it's democratic and it's ubiquitous in a woman's wardrobe. The denim in this collection is made from recycled yarns and is often used as a fail-safe when women are anxious about what to wear. Other materials in the collection are white shirtings, crepe de chine, bamboo jerseys and linen jerseys. Designs are very often discarded once they're in the public arena, and I wanted to go back through the wealth of work that I've done over my career and look at pieces that still resonated with me to reintroduce them back into the marketplace. So I looked at a plaid tartan jacket that I developed when I was in New York, and a lot of stretch denim that I'd done in the early 90s, which was for the club scene, and I brought some of those pieces back and used them as building blocks for the new collection. In this slide, the top red dress was made of felted wool that was designed when I was in New York, and the one on the lower left-hand side was a Lurex piece that was designed when I was living in London. I amalgamated both of those pieces together to create a new piece that would actually work for the demographic that I'm designing for. When I interviewed the women for the project, a lot of them talked about certain body issues and things that they wanted to hide about their bodies, so things like the tops of their arms and their stomach area, and some of them talked about their legs. This top in particular was inspired by Jackie O. It looks like a two-piece that she would have worn, but it's actually one piece, and it actually disguises the tops of the arm and the stomach area. And the leather skirt is made from upcycled leather skins. This jacket was inspired by the Valentino exhibition at Somerset House. The neck is a stand-away neck, and the studs that are fastening it are inside and they're all covered. The whole idea for me using denim, this recycled material, was to actually treat it in a different way, in a more grown-up way, a more sophisticated way than is normally prevalent in the fashion industry. So there's hardly any top stitching at all. The sleeve detail has actually been hand stitched inside, similar to what Valentino uses in his garments. It was recently stated in the Sunday Times that denim is the new cashmere. Knitwear is a new development in my repertoire. Many of the respondents I interviewed stated that they actually have knitwear as an integral part of the wardrobe, so I wanted to include some pieces. This particular piece is made from linen and tencel and clear nylon, and it's been indigo dyed. And the silhouette is a silhouette that suits lots of different body shapes and ages. This blues on top is similar to the one I'm wearing and the one that was in a past image. It's made from seaweed yarn, which has also been mixed with a rayon, and it's actually got a poem on it from the trend forecaster Lee Eldcourt in Paris, who kindly let me use the poem. I will be reading an excerpt from the poem at the end of the slideshow. Colour is a very important consideration in fashion, and there are complex problems when trying to do eco-friendly printing and dyeing. The safest option is natural dyes, but they don't have much strength or permanence. So the decision was made to actually indigo dye, and one of the first year students kindly worked with me on developing the dyes and making the final garments. The brand's concept is to develop trans-seasonal collections, a number of key items which can be plugged into different fabrics and slotted into different seasons. So basically one collection will be designed in the year, and then depending on which territory it's being sold to, different fabrics will be interpreted for the styles that have been produced. This marquee has been developed by the not-for-profit organisation called Made in Britain. 2/3 of the people that interviewed, and it was over 1,000, wanted an official seal that would say that things were made in Britain. And half of them wanted British brands to bring back manufacturing to the UK. And more than 1/3 of them stated they would buy British if it was easy to identify authentic made British products. One of the potentially harmful discoveries that I've found is many of the mixed fibre garments sold on the high street have components that when laundered migrate into the food chain. 1,900 fibres are released into the water table every time you launder a mixed fibre garment, and these garments are not recyclable. In a recent article by a scientist, it was found that microplastics have been found in all the waterways around the Earth. This is Earth Matters, the story. This century is bringing a moment of reflection and radical change, making up for a century of abuse, greed and violence. For the first time, a post-fossil society is emerging, giving man much hope and faith in the future, resetting attitude and mentality towards more respect for the Earth and each other. Taking inspiration from the Earth and trying to give back its beauty and strength, restoring her self-respect and reflecting on the huge gift this planet was and still will be for us humans. A wealth of ideas will sprout from the Earth, analysing all our entrails and components to be transformed into dimensional textiles and earthbound colours. Our entente with nature will be rewritten and reinvented. We will try to live together in a more harmonious way, giving and taking and caring for each other. I'd like to thank all these sponsors. I'd also like to thank all the women that informed the collection, the women I interviewed when I was researching the project. And finally, this wouldn't have been possible at all if I hadn't received money through the crowdfunding project that I ran before I started on the MA course.